in the new van now. I am in Ghost 2. Let me take you around the van right now, and I'll just show you kind of what's going on and really what my thoughts are. And yeah, let's get this started. In the cab area, there's the sliding doors here, and as you can see, there's no windows throughout the entire van except this one right here. I didn't really want the window here. I got such a killer deal on the van, I kind of had to leave the window here. I wanted more lighting in the van, and this just gives me a lot more options for lighting. I'm going to also probably put a window on the sliding door as well. This is a radiant floor heating, and maybe Troy can explain this a little bit better. Give your system in like 2 sentences. Can you do that?
2 sentences? Probably not.
All right, can you do 3, maybe 4?
Story short, in the past life, I used to be a mechanical contractor. I used to do commercial and residential radiant heating, design, system installation, all the things. Got tired of being cold in my van, decided to fix it. What we have is what's called a 2-stage heat system. So the first stage is the radiant floor, and it is a hydronic radiant floor, no electric warming mats, nothing like that.
I'm gonna take this off so we can get closer to Troy.
So first stage is it's all a hydronic system, which means it's hot fluid, like the coolant that would go through your radiator in your vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's hydronic. We end up with about 150 feet of hose in the floor with our proprietary floor system. That's the first stage. So the system will automatically try to use the floor as the primary heat source to heat the van. Full control over the minimum and maximum temperatures on the floor. So you can decide you like toasty toes and just keep it a certain temperature all the time if you want. But it'll use the floor first, try and maintain the air temperature. If for some reason it's super cold out, or your doors are open, or you just turn the system on and the floor is taking time to get up to temperature, we have a second stage, which is a fan coil unit. So it uses the same hydronic heating fluid, but runs it through a fan coil, kind of like your heater core in your car, really.
Which is right there by your right knee.
Yep, that's that. So
that's a temporary situation, guys. That's not.
Yeah, we had to get Jarrod. He's not building his van yet, so a lot of times we'll put the floor in, do the rest of the build, come back and put in the rest of the mechanicals. We're not temping his mechanicals in, but we're putting them in a way where he can build around them when he gets to his cabinetry. Kind of trying to keep it tight in here.
Job well done, Troy.
Yeah, that's the heating system, and then the same system also provides domestic hot water, or your potable hot water. We have a 4-gallon storage tank for that, and so you always have 4 gallons of water ready at any time, but the system will actually make unlimited hot water, only limited by the size of your fresh water tank. Whole house heating, we call it, and provides unlimited domestic hot water as well. We've been in full R&D mode for about 3 years. The latest evolution of the system, we've been through 5 different pump manufacturers, 2 different heater manufacturers, 2 different fan coil manufacturers. These are custom made for us now so that we can put high quality stuff out in the field, because I was actually part of a startup one time where we had 100 units out in the field that needed constant maintenance, and I never want to do that kind of thing again. They're standard heating principles if you've been involved in hydronic heating, but the components have been especially either designed or built for application like this. So the coolant heater itself runs about 20 or 30 watts in steady state mode, and then all the rest of the mechanicals put together about 10 watts. So we're well under 70 watts total, even during startup phase on the heater, and then we run ambient about 30 or 40 watts of power consumption. So that was more than 2 sentences by a long way.
But you know what? I think you gave a fantastic description.
I know for a fact I'm gonna get a ton of inquiries about this. Cost, how to install it, is it DIY build? I'm gonna try and go over all that right now, because honestly, I get hit up probably daily about this system ever since I told everybody I was gonna put this in my vans. Where can you get it first and foremost? Is it a DIY kit? Troy has a very intricate system on how his system does get installed. Therefore, you have to have one of his affiliate upfitters install the system. And why is that? It's so important, because if it is installed wrong, or if there's 1 ounce that is incorrect, the entire system fails. Is that sort of correct?
Yeah, it's mostly correct. I'd say that it's not that it's super complicated. It's just that a bunch of different things going on. There's hydronic heating principles, there's controller and wiring principles, there's tubing installation principles, and it's not that it's overly complicated. It's just that take a heating circulator. If you install it in the right orientation, it can last for 5 years. If you install it in the wrong orientation, the bearings will blow out in 2 months. It's stuff like that where it kind of comes back just to service calls and maintenance, where I want to make sure that it's installed properly, and it comes with a 2-year warranty if it's installed from one of my installers, so one of my affiliate installers.
I'm here with the one and only Wes Wallace.
Oh snap! Here we are.
Wes is working on, I guess, the platform for the panel.
Solar roof deck.
Solar roof deck. That's a better name for it. I like that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
We're making your solar roof deck. This is
Yeah.
actually Gen 1, so I don't really care too much about exposing too much of the secret sauce here.
Okay.
Our new version of our roof deck, as you know,
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah.
Much lighter
Much lighter.
is a part of it, but you're going to get a really low pro system, which is more your priority than necessarily being able to go up there and walk on it.
Mm-hmm.
Although you will be able to. This system is actually heavier than our current model. We're looking at, you know, in addition to your factory rails,
Mm-hmm.
we're another inch above that. So it's half-inch double stack. We're 1 inch off your roof.
And you lost, I don't know how many pounds, but you lost from Gen 1 to Gen 2.
Quite a bit of weight.
You lost probably like 100 pounds, huh?
Yeah. We're just gonna do a quick little explanation of your system.
Wes and Savannah from Tiny Watts
in.
Solar.
What's up?
Here we are,
Look at this.
another power center. What you cannot see are all the beautiful things inside,
Yeah.
but
The
I do
secret
like
recipe.
this white on white. We have our DC distribution. You have 4 batteries, alternator charger, DC distribution, solar input, solar output, and shore power.
Wait a minute, Wes. None of that is labeled for me. How do I get a hold of it?
Well, you just open up your little thing, man.
We did not rehearse this, by the way.
Battery 1, 2, 3, 4. DC distribution, alternator out, in, AC in.
Look at that.
And then you got
So-
your main 30 amp breaker, which we have off right now because you haven't tied in the rest of your 120 volt circuits. But you have 4 independent 20 amp circuits that you can dedicate to an induction cooktop, Instapot, electric kettle, all those types of things. And
Cool.
so these are all your 12 volt loads on the far right there, and then this is going to be your 120 volt distribution.
And you have 2 fuses in there already, so we're running stuff.
Yeah.
We're running your radiant heat right now, man.
Yeah, we got it. Is your butt warm?
It is.
Ooh, it is. It is actually.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's full right now, so we're not really charging like crazy because it's just topping off your batteries.
There you go.
But let's see. We got 100%. We love seeing 100%. We got a crack screen
little
because
glare.
we've been getting some work done. But right now we're getting 312 watts. It's just topping off your battery bank. But yeah, you're getting 22 amps.
From your
Yeah.
solar deck.
It's impressive.
It's amazing.
Right here on the history function, it'll end up showing you this graph. So you could log, you know, months of generation output and
Yeah.
see, oh, today we got maximum output 390 watts, 30 watt hours so far. But, you know, eventually that'll be like 1.2 kilowatt hours, and you'll get to figure out how many batteries per day you've been filling up from your solar. So
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? 20 watts!
starting of the construction process. Yeah, you can see right behind me that I have insulation in the walls, and you can see like a framing or furring strips, whatever you want to call them, right here. The reason I'm doing furring strips is, number one, it depends on what your finished wall wants to be. For example, my finished wall is actually probably just going to be a 1/4 inch plywood, and I'm probably going to paint it a flat white. I could actually just take that and attach it right to the metal wall. The only reason I'm trying not to do that is because I don't want to attach that directly to the metal. For moisture purposes, these will also create a thermal break. Thermal break, you can Google it. It pretty much just separates the atmosphere from the outside to what it's going to be in the inside. One of the reasons why you do a thermal break, whatever. Other things, what I've seen people do for the insulation purposes, and the reason they like using these furring strips, is they'll put insulation in like this, or they'll even put like a rigid foam board, right? And then when they put their finished wall on, this is a 1/2 inch furring strip. I've seen people actually use a 3/4 inch furring strip, and then they'll put a 1/2 inch rigid foam board on your finished wall. So when you stick it to the furring strip, there's actually a gap of a 1/4 inch. Hopefully you can do the math on that. 3/4 inch furring strip, and then a 1/2 inch insulation on the finished wall, and then it'll create a very small but useful air gap inside. The reason I'm not doing any of that is because I'm actually going with wool. It's a little bit different than most of the other insulations you're probably using or know about. I think the wool insulation, they have like a van life package. I think it's like $240 plus shipping, which isn't bad. I can't really say any bad things about it, but it's a 2-inch bat. This is a bat. You can play around with it. You can rip it. You can split it in half. It's easy to cut with scissors. This is real sheep wool from New Zealand. Yes, Havelock ships in their sheep wool from New Zealand. It's crazy. You do not need to stuff this into, like, yeah, I'm gonna stuff it into crevices, but you don't have to like stuff it to the point. You can see right here, I have this is a 1-2 inch bat. It's just like a full sheet of this. That's all that is right here. Now, because I want a little bit more insulation, I might actually split this in half, which I can just do like that, and then put like another inch back here. But you don't need to like stuff it with like 4 bats is what I'm saying. You don't need like 8 inches of wool insulation. This wool is actually supposed to be a little breathable. That's important, by the way, from what these guys at Havelock told me. For those of you who don't know, Mercedes, the new Sprinters are key fobs, so there's no turn key. This is just a push start Mercedes. Back doors and cedar paneling, and the reason I did it in cedar paneling was because the entire van's pretty much gonna, on the inside is gonna be white. Everything like vertically, so all the walls are gonna be white, and the cabinetry is gonna be white with black accents, and then everything horizontal will have like a dark wood grain, like a walnut. So my floors, my countertops, and my ceiling is gonna have a dark tones to it. So you're not gonna be able to see this paneling unless the bed is folded down. So when the bed is down, this paneling will be exposed. So I'm gonna put a little bit of like a tung oil, gonna keep this natural look to it, but I'm just gonna seal and protect it. But what I did here with this was we actually used adhesive, and then we shot it with a brad nailer. The nails went right through the metal, no problems, and the adhesive, obviously, it was a flexible adhesive. This is all the wiring. I used 200 feet of DC wire. Type that I used was a 14 AWG. There it is. You guys see it. I have it all labeled on what's what and where it's going back to the my solar box. The AC wire, I also have that all that laid out. So right here I have my ceiling up. You know what's funny? I didn't mean to mix and match the color of the plywood, but it is what it is. It's not birch plywood on the ceiling, and the exterior walls, it's like a sand, S-A-N-D-E. The reason I went with that is it's a little bit harder, a little bit firmer than a birch plywood. Birch is extremely thin and kind of fragile. You saw in my framing, there's furring strips, and that's what the wall is attached to, is those furring strips. And then when you put the walls up, you can go right in with a coarse thread, like a drywall screw from wood to wood, because you're going right into the furring strip, and it should give you a solid hold. Now the reason I'm doing mine this way is because I already know what my finishes are going to be. I'm going to be using tile on one side, and I'm going to be using a flexible compound, which the reason it's flexible is because you're driving the van, it's going to be moving. You don't want it to shrink or crack. Use a skim of that, and I'm going to cover up like crack, any screws or anything like that. And then you sand it down, and then you can paint over that. So then when I started making partitions, so the back walls, that's actually housing my Murphy bed. That'll be like the frame of the Murphy bed. That's 3/4 inch. I need a little bit of structure, I need a little bit of strongness to them, so 3/4 inch is obviously thick. There's Pops.
Huh?
I said there's Pops.
Hey.
So yesterday we put up the aluminum coil stock, Dad's idea. We just sprayed it on with spray glue, spray adhesive. Boards are going up with pin screws. I wish I had one to show you, but they're little pin screws. It's a wiring nightmare. I have to run the wire from the switch that's gonna be in this wall up over here, and then it's gonna come through the sideboard right over here, and then we're having a board be an end cap, and all the wires are going to daisy chain one to the other, each board. I'm gonna have a trim piece that goes all the way around. It's gonna be, it's a wiring nightmare. It's gonna look good when it's done. Ceiling is done. Holy heck, that was not easy. I still got some wires hanging down right up here above me. Some wires over by the sliding door that I still gotta wire up and finish, but for the most part, the ceiling is done. And obviously the lights are on around the side door so you guys can actually see it dimming. I'm here over at the side door. We wired up the switch, which is right here. And actually this is just turning it off, turning it on, and then they're on dimmers. Every single one of them. Pretty cool. chip away every day at a little bit of everything. Today we're gonna be working on finishes. Finishes are super important because they make your van look pretty. Already skimmed this wall, putty up all these little guys right here, all these little holes, and fill some seams in, which are down here. You can kind of see I've got some seams. I got a sand. I have my countertop in. As you can see, we are moving, people. As you can tell, I've had my coffee. We got this countertop in, which is perfect. When the bed rotates down, it misses it by 1/8 of an inch. We cut this out right there for the bed to come down and rest right on top of that shelf. Floors are in. I don't know if I showed those yet, but I'm walking on cardboard boxes right now. But the floors are in, they're right there, as you can see. They are like a dark walnut, 8 millimeters thick. Went with a thick floor for many reasons. Number one, it can take a lot of wear and tear. Number two, I have radiant floor heating and I don't want the floor to bend up or bubble, or it's all lock in place. No adhesive whatsoever is holding the floor in. This is where my shower is going to be, but this is also going to be a countertop going all the way across. There's going to be a cutout for the sink here. The biggest thing was having the Murphy bed, being able to come down and rest on something, because when you are in your bed, you don't want to you don't want it to flex. You need to rest on something. I wanted to make sure I had a living space separate than a bedroom space, and trying to keep my kitchen separate. I've seen Murphy beds come off the sidewalls. With the contour of the Sprinter van, it's very hard to do a Murphy bed off the sidewalls. This shelf here is really what holds the Murphy bed on, you know, this side, which is the passenger side, and then the bench on this side holds it on that side. And then I made my calculations correct that when the bed comes down, it actually comes up a couple inches shy of this wall, as well as that wall right there. It just all worked out. Yeah, right. I had all the calculations pretty much mapped out, and I wanted to make sure it was going to work. I also wanted a big countertop, a long countertop to do plenty of prep work or cooking, or if I wanted to lay out a bunch of work. Why don't I have a cooktop already built in? Why don't I have other built-in things? The cooktop is probably the biggest one that a lot of people will put in. Number one, I'm going all electric, so I'm getting a portable induction cooktop, and you can get this with a propane style as well. The beautiful thing about those is, yes, you have to take it out to cook your food. The beautiful thing about having it portable is when you do want to use them, you put them on your counter, and then when you don't use them, you obviously store them away. And then you have all of this countertop space for usable access, or whatever you may be, or whatever you want to use it for. Show you the shower and what's going on. And I'm really excited to see what the whole recirculating shower does. But really, that's gonna be later on. We'll hopefully have him on. Let's talk about the construction of the shower itself. I had a very small footprint to work with. Let's get up and let's see this out, okay? These are epoxy shelves that I made, one there and one there. They're matching. They're actually out of the same epoxy pour. I wanted to break up that white wall over there. It's more of an artwork thing, but I use it as a shelf too. It's pretty cool. This is the whole shower. This is the whole shebang right here. I've got screwdriver. This is all open right now. This is my door. You can't really see it, but it is a 3/4 inch plywood. I got a cabinet latch down on the bottom there, then I'll have another latch right here to, just in case, so it doesn't swing open. The door shuts. Let me get the countertop. The countertop actually has 4 pins in it. I'm not sure if you can see those, but 4 pins in it, and then I drilled holes and I put like a metal cylinder in there, so these pins go right into that. And that sits in there just like that. Then there's a bottom piece that actually goes in right in here. Again, I have to paint all this still, so bear with me here. And that goes right there, and then this folds down and locks into place. Now, as you guys can see, now the entire bathroom, or I guess bathroom because my toilet's gonna be in there too, but the entire shower is going to be concealed. Okay.